Okay, good morning and welcome to Iyun with Benzion. Today's daf is Yevamos Zion 77. Um, Today we were dealing with Ammoni, below Ammonis, Moavis, right? The Isser, if a person from Ammon and Moab converts, so the man who converts is Asr Lavo Bakal. He can't marry a regular Jewish woman forever. A female converts, she's right away. Even she can marry a Yisrael. There's no problem. A full kosher Yisrael, Lava Bakal. There is absolutely no problem with that. Obviously, she's a Gioris. She can't marry a Kohen because she's a Gioris, but she could marry a regular Yisrael. Much Lava Bakal. The Gemara has two sources for this. And Iyun Zion and says it very clearly. It's Maflogas Tanoim. Towards the top middle of Iyun Zion and Aleph. Ammoni Gitanai. Ammoni v'lo Ammonis Moav Moavis Rabbi Yehuda. It says Ammoni and Moavis, right? Moavi. It's a masculine in the pasuk to exclude a female. She's not part of the Isser. Rabbi Shimon Omer al Parashah Lokimus Kamalach Lamayim Darkashish Lakadim. Like the Gemara explained yesterday, men generally should be going out to greet the wayfarers and offer them food and water, and women don't go out. Like the Gemara explains here that women kol kurabas b'al pnima, like by Sarah, she stayed in the tent. They don't go out, so it's not. They shouldn't go out to help the woman. They should stay in the tent. The men should have gone to give food and drink to the women and men. It's the men's fault, not the woman's fault. The woman didn't do anything wrong, so there's no reason to answer them, because the pasuk gives a reason. The pasuk gives a second reason, which is not quoted in the Gemara. It says, "Ammon and Moab are bad, not just because they didn't give bread and water, but also they hired Bilam to curse Klal Yisrael." And then a couple of pasukim later, it talks about Mitzri Adomi in the Torah. Let's read it inside, just so we have it clear what the words of the Torah are. Torah Shebechtav. Remember, Torah Shebechtav is explaining Torah Shebechtav. So if you don't read the pasukim in Torah Shebechtav, it would be bad. So in pasuk Ches, Perek Chav Gimel, pasuk Ches. L'sasayiv Adomi, don't hate an Adomi. Ki achicha, is a brother, right? Adomi is a reference to Esav. Adomi, Adoma, he was red, like Russia. Adomi, he's her brother, right? Yaakov and Israel are brothers. Lo Saiv and Mitzri, don't hate Mitzri. Ger Yisab Arzo. They did terrible things, right? Esav tried to kill them, tried to kill Yaakov. The Mitzrim tried to kill all of them in Mitzrayim. But you sojourned in his land, you stayed in their land, they provided you a residence in Mitzrayim. Bonim, in the next pasuk, Bonim Ashri Yavadalem Dor Shlishi Yavalem B'Kal Hashem, the third generation converts could marry in. Right? And Domi Rashi says they came out not just by Esav threatening Yaakov, later generations, when they wanted to pass through their land, they came out with swords. So therefore, there's a reason. You shouldn't completely hate them, but you should hate them enough to ask them for 3 generations. Now, the halacha, we pass like the Rabbanan, not like Reb Shimon. The Rabbanan say that Mitzri and Adomi are usher, lavo bakal, both for men and women up until 3 generations. Meaning, if a Mitzri and a Mitzris convert and they have a child, whether that child is a boy or a girl, he's still even the girl is usher lavo bakal Hashem, as opposed to, and even for sure, Mitzris, Egyptian woman who converts, she's first generation. She's also Asher Bakal. Reb Shimon doesn't hold that way. We don't hold like Reb Shimon. However, Ammon and Moab, it only applies to men, not to women. So, what's the distinction over here? What's going on over here? So, I want to reveal to you a secret of the Torah over here. The words of the Torah apply just like they applied back 3,000 years ago. They apply nowadays also. The word Ammon, if you're wondering what it is, ever heard of Amman, Jordan? Amman is the capital of Jordan. It's strategically located to the east of Israel. Moab sounds like Maghreb. If you're familiar with the Maghreb region, that's the region of basically northern Africa. Northwest Africa, let's say. Northeast Africa would be Egypt. Northwest Africa would be the Maghreb region, the Berbers, Morocco, Tunisia, Algeria, those types of countries, which also could have provided a portal for the Jews to get to Israel through crossing over the Mediterranean. From Egypt, you have to cross over the Suez Canal. So the Maghreb and the Ammon, these people, Ammon and Moab, if you think about it, Jordanians, they're predominantly Arab countries. Um, you find Moroccan Jews. Jews resided in Morocco for long times. Jews, Arab culture and Jewish culture are very similar. They pray 5 times a day. We pray 3 times a day. They fast. They have Ramadan. They have a whole month where they fast. We fast also. Those are, integral things. There's 5 pillars of Islam faith. Two of them are, well, most of them are similar to Judaism. Alms, which is stucca. They believe in praying 5 times a day. They believe in fasting. Those are similar things. They have Aliyah Regel, where they believe in going to Mecca and Medina, which are in Saudi Arabia, birthplace. Medina is where Muhammad died. We believe Aliyah Regel also. They also have something which is called jihad, which is whatever. Jihad, you know what it is. Holy war. And Jews have a concept of Amalek, also holy war to kill Amalek. So very similar. The cultures of Muslims and Israel is situated in an Arab region over here. Arab is a cultural thing. Muslim is the religion, is the ethical thing. And we talked about during culture and ethics or ethnics. Muslim is the religion, different ethics than Judaism, different sets of morals. But culturally, it's an Arab region. Israel is stated in the Middle East, which is Arabia is right next to Israel, but it's an Arab region. So culturally, they're the same thing. So we said Kal, there's Kedushas Yisrael and Lavo Bakal. Kal is the Kal, which sounds like culture, which is the congregation. Culture are things, are customs that make people stand out if they're different. Everyone does the same thing. If you do something different, you stick out. Ethics and morals are nothing about sticking out. They're more private things. What you believe in, what's the proper moral view on something, or ethical view on something. They're about laws and morals. So when it comes to Ammon and Moab, which basically Arab countries, Jews lived in Morocco for a long time. Some still do. So culturally, they're the same thing. So Ammon and Moab, men are awesome because what they did either because they didn't provide food and drink, or because they hired Bilam to curse Klal Yisrael. So culturally, they're the same, but Kedushas Yisrael, in terms of ethically, they sin. They hired Bilam. They have different morals. They're Arab. They're Muslim. They're Muslim versus Jewish, and they wanted to destroy the religion, destroy the Jews. They wanted not to give them food and lechem. They didn't want them to continue. So ethically, they have a different moral compass. But again, Kedushas Yisrael, I want to say a big chiddush here. Kedushas Yisrael only applies to men, meaning women only part of the kalash and the congregation. They do the same customs as Jewish people, but women are not nashim daita and kalo same. They don't have the same ability to make decisions. They don't take life as seriously as men. Men are held to a higher moral compass than women. Women are not held to a moral compass at all, or much less. It's harder for them to think. They're more involved in day-to-day life. They're harder for them to morally evaluate things. So, therefore, that's part of the thing that Ammoni v'lo Moabis, right? It says Mitzri. They just said Mitzri v'lo Mitzris. The fact that it says Ammoni v'lo Moabi, it's a svara that men have a moral compass. So only men sin. The men sinned. The woman didn't sin. The women don't have a moral compass. There's no Kedushas Yisrael by women. So the only thing is culturally, and culturally they're the same from Ammon and Moab. So there's no Isser by Gioris from Ammon and Moab. When it comes to Mitzri and Edomi, Egyptians, you don't really find too many Jews who live in Egypt. And Edomi, I want to suggest, Edom is red. The present day Edom is red. It's Russia. Russia in Spanish, Russia is the same word as Russia. Esav, Sea of Azov is actually very prominent now in this war now that's going on. Sea of Azov is located, it was just actually conquered mostly by Russia. Azov sounds like Esav. They had Mitzri and Edomi are just culturally, they're not the same. They're culturally different than than Jewish people. Their cultures are different. Egypt, the cultures are different. The hieroglyphics, whatever they have, they're very culturally different than Judaism. And Russians, everyone knows, are different than Israelis. They have, you press the buttons here when you go to the Kubat Cholim here, the HMOs, they say Russian. You speak in Russian. That's a prominent language. Russians have different cultures. So therefore, since it's a cultural difference, therefore it applies equally to women and men, because customs, you don't have to think too much, apply equally to women and men. So if there's an Isser, you're not supposed to hate them entirely because they're your brothers or you lived in their lands, but culturally, women and men share the same thing. They're both different than Jews. So therefore it applies equally to men and women. It's not so much about the Kedusha, about the moral, the ethics. It's more about the culture, and that's why it applies equally to men and women. Hope you enjoyed today's share. It's big revolutionary stuff. See you tomorrow.